It's also one of those things when you're black and white and you identify as black. It's funny sometimes experiencing racism. So
Yeah.
I've been called a nigger before by a
Wow.
white person, and the whole time I laughed and I had to let them know like I'm a part of like your community. What do you mean? And you're calling me a nigger, and you know what I'm saying? It's just things like that.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Flip That Switch. I'm your host, Brandon, aka B to the Sis Naive, and we back with another episode. If you didn't get a chance to go back and watch the previous episode, please go back and watch it. As a matter of fact, before you watch this one, go back and watch that one. But today we're going to be diving into a new episode, and the person that's stopping by to interview with me today is a good homie of mine out here just grinding, doing her thing, got 3 lovely kids that she is being a mother for and wearing so many hats for. Her and my wife are really good friends. And so she's just out here grinding, and really appreciate her stopping by because she's going to give us her journey on coming from a mixed background. And so this is an episode that I've been looking forward to doing with her. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my homie Jaleesa to the show. What's up, Jaleesa?
Hey y'all, what's going on?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great. Can't complain. Can't complain. All right, so you ready to dive right in?
I'm ready.
All right, perfect. So, Jaleesa, how are you mentally? Talk to me a little bit about what's going on mentally and where you are and how's everything going with that.
I would say I'm in a good space right now. It took a lot to get in this good space though. Like you said, I'm a mama of 3. So and they're very close in age. So I know what you having like a new one on your hands. Imagine having it 3 times. So
Ooh.
yeah, I went through a lot mentally. To be where I am now, I feel like I'm in a space where everything is starting to be more chill, more relaxed, more peaceful, just really enjoying the kids. So mentally everything's going pretty good. Can't complain. Blessed.
Nice, nice. Now, how long would you say it's been like that?
If I'm being honest, probably like a year or so.
Okay.
My kids are now a little bit more independent, and I think having to juggle like a full-time job, doing the kids, and they started doing sports and all that type of stuff and getting adjusted to that type of stuff was really tough. And I feel like I'm in a space now where, and I don't know how I got to this space. I think just constant prayer, constant affirmations, things like that to really just stay optimistic about life is really what got me where I'm at right now. So,
Nice. That's what's up. Having that Christian background and just being able to lean in on God when things get tough, that's something you take pride in, huh?
I do. And I've been getting more, I would say, like the closer you get to God, the closer you realize like everything ain't so bad or
Mm,
as bad as you think it is. Like it's so many people going through way worse situations than what you would ever be going through. So it's like you got to take that, run with it, stay mentally tough, because it's things out here that can break you. The devil be working, but you got to stay strong.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about how it was coming up. So first and foremost, obviously you are a mixed woman. And
Hmm.
so what are you mixed with?
I mix with black and white.
Okay. Okay. So is it your father that's black or your mother that's black?
Yeah, my dad's black and my mom's white.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about what that dynamic was coming up as a child, being mixed. Did kids make fun of you in school? Was it a situation where they embraced it? Did you embrace it? Did you have confidence issues? Kind of give me your journey on what it was being a mixed child coming up.
I think the way I grew up, how can I say this? Like, I've always grown up around my black side of the family.
Okay.
And one of the things my daddy used to always tell me is like, you ain't never gonna be black enough, you ain't never gonna be white enough.
Mm,
So just be you, And So for a while, like you never really realize some of the things that go on, but like in friend groups, I'm always the one with the good hair, or the one that, oh girl, why you doing that? You white, you can do da 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 da. But it's like I've always grew up with my black side, so I always identified as black.
Okay.
And so like growing up, I wouldn't say people made fun of me, but I would say it was always like you the butt of every white joke. That's what I
Mm,
will say. You always gonna be the white girl. The white jokes come left and right. And I think you get used to it at a certain extent, but some people really don't even know that you mix. So it could go either way. And I feel like growing up, because I never, I guess, experienced enough of my white side, I just always identified as black, and always, you know, the friends I was around was in the black culture. My mom, she kind of acts black. She is one of those white girls that's just like, she thinks she black and she not. But so I grew up around, like, I'm serious. And so like if anybody know my mama, they know like that's just how she is. But I really didn't get a chance to be around that side. So like a lot of I have some mixed friends too, and I love to hear their stories, because um depending on, I guess, who you're around that's stronger is kind of like how you kind of act.
yeah.
So and how you're raised. And so I had my black grandma, she was like my second mom.
Okay.
My mom didn't, she wasn't real close with her family because she dated, outside of her race. And that's the thing too, most people weren't used to that back in the 80s, the 90s. And so growing up, of course, like I would see certain things, but I didn't see certain things. Cause when you're kids, you don't be around like grown up conversations. But of
Right.
course, my mama got into it with every single one of my aunties, cause she's the white woman dating a black man. I done seen and heard all that type of stuff. So I would say like growing up, it wasn't bad. I mean, I feel like I had a good childhood, but it's also little things that I look back now and I'm like, dang, that could be traumatizing to somebody who has never like who's having identity issues. You never know, because I'm telling you, you're never white enough, you're never black enough. White
Right.
people gonna look at you like you're black all no matter what, and then you got black people who's gonna always look at you as the white girl. So it's just like you have to be mentally tough for some of that stuff. And so for me, like when I was a kid, I don't know. I'm sure you and your friend groups, like, we always scold on each other, like
Oh
major.
yeah.
So your comebacks had to be good. You know what I'm saying? So they call you white, you might have to talk about their edge up, or something like that. So or call a girl musty. Little things like that. You got to be able to come back for that. But I feel like growing up, that's what the only thing people could say is like white stuff. But I mean, it was pretty good growing up. My grandma, I praise her. She's a black queen that, took, I would say, never treated me any differently because I was mixed. She
Wow.
always instilled everything that she would to any of her grandkids. And she was a big force in my life. To this day, my mom, her being white, her and my grandma are like this. They talk more than I do. Like literally every day. So it's just like I haven't had bad issues. But it's also one of those things when you're black and white and you identify as black, it's funny sometimes experiencing racism. So
Yeah.
I've been called a nigger before by a
Wow.
white person, and the whole time I laughed, and I had to let them know, like, I'm a part of like your community. What do you mean? And you're calling me a nigger? And you know what I'm saying? It's just things like that that I feel like you never really. I didn't have to experience too much of it, but I did go through it enough. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. So what were some of the jokes that they would tell you? What was some of the jokes the kids was hit me with a couple jokes they would tell you?
I mean, I can't even think of some. I hold on. You took me off with that one. But like I used to do stuff, so like I used to want to get a perm so bad, and I would go buy the perm, be at my homegirl's house, and they'll be like, what are you doing? And like they'll just like fire me up because they'll be like, girl, you got good hair. Why are you permanent? Like, I don't know. It's just little things like that. I'm trying to come up with a good white joke.
So while you do it, actually, while you coming up with one, so it's funny that you say that, right? So like you had good hair, right? And but you wanted to fit in so bad that it was like,
I wouldn't even say like fit in. It was more so like that's how I really thought I was supposed to be. Like, you know
ah,
what I'm saying? Like when you
yeah,
growing up predominantly black, I had a white mom who couldn't do my hair.
okay,
So who I had to look to was like my cousins, my big sister, my grandma, my aunties. And I would always try to do my hair the same way they would try to do their hair.
okay,
So I wouldn't say like it just became a habit.
yeah,
It just became like that's who I am, and I'm doing it because I see that's how they do their hair. So and my mom, she white, so all she had to do is just brush her hair and go about her way, and it's
right,
not the same. And so I used to just take, I guess, whatever everybody around me was doing, and I would do it. They would press their hair with a hot comb. I wanted to press my hair with a hot comb. They grease their scalp. I grease my scalp. And don't get me wrong, I will say greasing my scalp, oiling my scalp did help my hair grow a lot. But
okay,
it was just little things like that that I feel like the texture of black hair was a little bit different than mine. But I would do everything that they would do.
yeah,
Braids, anything you want to name, I done it. Just because that's all I seen.
yeah,
So
yeah. You mentioned earlier that your mom would defend you and stuff against like people who were like saying things about you and stuff like that.
mhm.
How did your dad fit into the equation?
So my dad, how can I explain it? Like my dad, he is very like he's not an emotional person.
Okay,
So he's one of those people where, you know, I could have any conversation with him and he would try to lead me in a different type of direction. But like for him, he made that very clear when we were growing up. Like you just never gonna be black. You never gonna be you gonna hear this stuff and you gotta take it. And it's kind of like he was the one that kind of made us tough, made us strong. And by us, I have two other brothers that are
okay.
mixed as well. And we're his only mixed kids. And so for him, it was just like, it is what it is. You black and white, and that's what it is. And so,
He was literally black and white.
yeah, like and he would
Yeah.
literally like, and it's like, my mom used to defend us because people used to actually call us mulattoes. Back in the day, even though, and I love that Lotto took that. She took that bad name and she made a shed light to it and made it a good thing. But like back in the day, calling us that was our nickname, mulattoes, and it refers to a dog. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh
my
wow.
mom has actually been in a fist fight because somebody has called us that before.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's like, I feel like we're in a day and age now where it's normal, way normal than what it was back in the day. But back in the day, you could, what I'm saying, getting into fights and arguments just off of somebody, making remarks like that. So, but
Wow. I never even knew that was a thing. And I didn't even know she had got her name from that. So she must be
yeah.
mixed too.
Yeah, she's mixed too.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
and she used to go by mulatto. That's the bad word. And so when
Got
she
it.
got, I don't think they canceled her, but you know how the internet is. And so she
Yeah.
changed it to just Lotto because a lot of mixed people were offended. But to me, I feel like she took something bad and tried to make light of it, and it like we're our own identity. Like growing up on my birth certificate, it says African American.
Okay.
And back then, you couldn't put multiple races. So if that just, and I used to like fill out all my paperwork. I was one of those like young kids wanting to be grown so bad. So I used to fill out a lot of medical paperwork and stuff thinking I'm grown. And they would always have it to where you could only choose one.
Okay.
So I always had chose African American, but then recently they're now more open to it, and now they allow you to check multiple races, things like that. But it's one of those things where I identify as a black woman, but I can't neglect that I'm white. that I do have white in my blood. So
Yeah.
it's
Do you ever like when you go somewhere, do you kind of switch up the way you talk depending on the environment? I mean, because
uh
let's be real, I mean, you can do both, right? You 50 and 50, so like you could be Jaleesa on one hand, and then you can go be the professional Jaleesa. So does your
yeah.
does your speech kind of switch up depending on where you at?
I will say this. It does when I'm at work.
Okay,
When I'm in a corporate or business like environment, it does switch up sometimes.
okay,
But I'm country girl, so it's hard to hide the country. So I cannot I can't explain it, but like for sure. I've been around people and it's so funny because I could get around a big group of white people for real and I could catch myself trying to be super proper. And
right,
I'm like, why am I doing that? But like, I could just talk like me. But it's just, I would say, if anything, like the only time I've ever done that really is with work. I
okay,
don't, if it's outside of work and stuff like that, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna talk normal. But I will say, in a business environment, obviously getting up the corporate ladder, you have to be able to articulate your words. And I will say my normal vocabulary wouldn't work in the corporate environment.
right,
But I mean, I don't switch up either, and I feel like sometimes these companies like that diversity. They like, the different backgrounds and things like that. So I don't switch up too much, but I can here and there.
right on, right on. Okay, so give me your professional corporate voice. Pretend I'm a
Oh my
client.
God.
Give me
No,
your corporate voice. How do you sound?
I feel like I already been talking like that though. I've been trying to.
No, I'll just play. Uh,
Brandon, I can't stand
no,
it.
no, too
Don't hit
soon.
the shoulder.
Yeah, too
Okay.
soon, too soon. I can't do that yet. Too soon, too soon.
I just knew you was gonna hit the bounce for me.
Man, too soon, too soon. Okay, so just give me a sentence. Just give me something like if I was pretend the phone's ringing and you answer the phone.
I honestly, I can't.
Do you say hi? This is Jaleesa. How may I
Yeah.
help you?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, hold on. Let me try to get it. Hold on.
Yeah, try to get it out. All right, I'm gonna stop laughing so you can get serious. I got to hear this.
Why do you? Okay, with you, Brandon. Uh, Hello. My name is Jaleesa Williams. I swear I can't take you serious right now. I cannot. I cannot. Honestly, I think I don't change my voice. It's more so the vocabulary.
Okay,
Like I have to switch up because I have it bad where I use terms like ain't
okay,
or gonna, stuff like that. And so I try to switch those words out. That's
okay,
really like I feel like just making sure you're using your vocabulary is what I switch up. Like the normal things I would say I like I just said, like ain't and stuff like that. I wouldn't say that in like an environment. I slow my words down just to make sure that I don't use that terminology. But
I
I
got
don't
you.
switch up. I feel like I'm so country and like I've laughed being in meetings with directors where I have tried to not sound so country and it sounded stupid where we all started laughing. Like I've been in that like for real. And so I can't help it. Like I'm just super country. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Do you feel that being mixed, do you have advantages like having you identify as being half Caucasian, half African American? Do you feel like you have certain advantages just as far as like, relationship wise, friendship wise, just people in general? Do you feel that it gives you certain advantages to be both?
um if I'm being honest,
Yep.
I feel like for me myself, no.
Okay.
And the reason why I say no is because and I'm gonna give you some more. So
Yep.
I say no because for me, when and I'm just gonna use my background into the corporate America.
Okay.
When I feel like black people or minorities have to work harder than most people, right?
Yep.
And for me, what's funny, and this is why I feel like the answer for me is no, is because a lot of people don't even think that I'm black and white. They might think I'm Hispanic or Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I get way more than people actually guessing my true ethnicity. So for
Oh,
me, when I come around, it's already like I'm in the minority category. Does that make sense?
yep.
Now, I would be lying to you if I said that I haven't seen privilege before, if that makes sense. So me personally, I don't feel like I've had that, you know what I mean, leg up in life. But I feel like, there are people that I feel like try to use that to get into doors or to do certain things. And it does work for some people. So I'll be sitting here lying to say if to telling you that doesn't happen. It happens. I just haven't personally experienced too much of that. I do know, like, and it's funny because in my black family, I've also like been around colorism
Okay.
where I have a few aunties that's lighter skinned and I have a few darker skinned aunties. My grandma is your shade. My
Mm,
dad is your shade.
okay.
I have a lot of aunts your shade. I have a lighter tone uncle and a darker tone uncle. But I think it mainly, and this is where it's gonna trip you out, I think it mainly plays a role a lot with the women though.
Mm,
So like I never really been put in a situation of colorism until like I would say, you know how like you have like a repast in a food gathering after a funeral,
yep.
and my family's big at playing spades.
Okay.
And so of course I walk in, I'm next on the spade table, whatever. And they playing light skin versus dark skin. So my two dark skin 80s was going against my light skin 80s, and that's what they called it. Then when they got up, the losers got up. It was the white girls, me and my mama, playing against the light skins. Like I had never seen that before, or
Okay.
just really like been put in a situation where people are really just talking about they shades of color. But I feel like it only happened with women.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, like, I feel like there are things out here in this world that's like that, but I try to stay, out of that type of stuff.
Absolutely. So you nice on the
Hmm.
spade table?
Oh, I'm lit on the space
Oh,
table.
me
We
too.
gotta play.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta play next time I
No,
come
like for
visit.
sure. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm like that. Like for
Is
real, for real.
Destiny? Does Destiny play?
Nah, she doesn't. I've been saying I'm gonna try to teach her, which I need to.
Yeah,
Because I need a
y'all gotta be partners at the space
yeah. But
table.
no, yeah, yeah. I'm nice on the table. I love spades. That's my game, man.
Yeah, that's my game too. And like growing up in like I said, on that predominantly black side, that's our thing. And so it's so funny that I think I told Brie about that. It's like, man, it's crazy when you don't realize, like, you hear these things on the internet and you see it on the internet, but to like be in person and go through it and feel it, it's kind of like, dang, it's really a thing. But it's always been like that too with my aunts apparently. So it's just like I think they're used to it, and once it grows in them, they keep doing that and being like that. But um to answer the question, like I've never felt like being mixed has given me a leg up, because most people don't even know that
Right,
I'm mixed. So
right. Hey, that's crazy that you said. Well, you said Hispanic. I
yeah,
never.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Like a lot of Hispanics sometimes just speak to me in Spanish. Like when they first walk up, like they
Yeah.
just start speaking to me in Spanish. I get that so much. So
Wow.
much. Yeah, yeah. And I used to, I'm not gonna lie, I used to play and I would try to like at least learn the basics of Spanish just to mess with, the Hispanics, but like literally people mainly think that I'm Hispanic descent. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy. You mentioned earlier that your dad's side and your mom. I don't know if maybe you spoke on this earlier, but I think you mentioned something around how like your family members had to like your mom had to come to your aid and stuff like that. Did your mom's side of the family and your dad's side of the family did they get along?
um I'm happy you asked me that. So my dad, they're from the city.
Okay.
So like they're born and raised Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
My mom's side of the family, they are more like in the countryside. So like past Denton area, they've always lived out that way.
Okay.
I will say it's I wouldn't say race played a part into us having not having a relationship with that side. I will say the distance more
Okay.
than anything. But my grandma, she actually lives with my mom now. She's moved to the city and she's been with us for about 4 or 5 years. And it's been really good and refreshing to try to like get to know her, and get that time with her, have my kids get to know her, just because I didn't have that when I grew up.
Okay.
I probably saw my grandma like once a year if I got lucky. And so I will say this, my since my grandma has moved to the city, my mom has been really close with my dad's mom.
Okay.
And so like one of the things they go do is go to the casino. So now they take my mom's mom with them and hang out with them and stuff like that. So like it's they're cool. It's just we've never had that relationship. So now in these years, it's like, we're trying to build that relationship before their time is gone. You know what I mean? So and my kids love it. They love having both great grandmas, and those questions come up from them, like, why are they white, why are they black? Like it comes up and they like, well, we're black, and I'm like, yeah, you are, but you're slightly white. And it's funny having that conversation with the kids because they need to know. Um and of course, with everything going on in like the schools, my kids don't really learn a lot about even their own black culture.
Yep.
And so me being mixed, it's like I teach them both sides.
I love that.
Um
I love
and,
that.
and I definitely I would say more black than anything just because that's how I was raised.
Yeah.
But having those conversations around like, the black and white thing, sometimes it's a little confusing because they see me, but
Yeah.
then they're like, oh, white people don't like, like didn't like black people. And it's like we have to have those conversations, we have to educate the kids. And so yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I
No, it
just
did. It did. It did. And we definitely go get into the kids later because I
Mhm.
definitely want to talk about how this impacts them. But first, so is your mom and dad still together?
They've been
Oh,
separated for more than 20 years now.
okay, got it, got it.
Mhm.
And are they in relationships right now?
uh yeah, they date. They
Oh,
date.
okay, so they're
Yeah.
dating. And
Yeah.
is it still a situation where they're dating outside of their race, or it's kind of like they've?
No, surprisingly, well, yeah, my mom, that's just what she likes. She
Okay,
likes black men. So yeah,
yeah,
that's all she date. But my dad, mom, I mean, I don't think he has a preference, but like he's only dated like two white women.
got it.
So he has kids after my mom. He had kids after my mom, and they're full black. So
Okay, okay,
mhm,
that's what's
mhm.
up. That's what's up.
but
I
but
heard.
it's funny because they're not together, but like my mom has a big presence in my black side of the family.
Okay,
So when she got with my dad, she didn't really have that support out here. She didn't have that foundation. And so my grandma, being the great woman she is, she kind of showed her how to cook like us. She showed her how to do all that type of stuff. And so they're still locked in. Like she just called me. She probably already called my grandma this morning. Like
okay,
they literally talk all the time. So um, but yeah.
nice, nice. So obviously, you're in a relationship now.
Hmm.
Um, and this is in no way or shape or form disrespectful to him, but I kind of want to go back to previous relationships. Did did your race, did you being mixed play a part in your relationships with other guys? So when guys found out that you were mixed, was that kind of like a red flag for them, a deal breaker for them, or did they not just care that you were mixed with black and white?
Yeah, I think that most don't care.
Okay.
I did date outside my race. When I said outside my race, because I've only dated black.
Okay.
And so I did date a Mexican before.
Okay.
And it was funny. It was probably one of the weirdest cases I ever had because, like, obviously he was like my first boyfriend.
Okay.
I built a relationship with his family. But his dad like was very standoffish, and I found out it was because I was black and white.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like, in certain cultures, they don't like neither one.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a weird situation where, I mean, the dad never treated me badly. He always treated me with love. But I had found out later that it was like he was so standoffish sometimes because I was black and white. Like he didn't like that. And of course, most cultures, they want their kids to be within that culture. And so
Hmm.
it was one of those things where like it was kind of weird because the family loved me. I would be at family gatherings, all that type of stuff, but it was just like, she's a gringo. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
that's just how it was. And when he found out that I was black and white, because obviously we dated this, I'm talking about like teenage years. And so of course he had to meet my mom and stuff like that. And so it was super shocking that she was white. And so it's just, I think that was like the weirdest thing that I ever came across. Like
Okay.
nobody really cared, but I will say like when I dated outside of my race for that, it was kind of weird. Because you never really know that other cultures are like that
Right.
as well. It's not just, I think we shed light a lot on, the black community, the black versus white community, when really it's other communities as well that's kind of like they're not into the mixed relationship. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was like my first time though.
You know what's funny? So back when I was coming up in like school and stuff, you were dating and you told somebody your girl is mixed. That was kind of like you was like the king, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know why. Like if I told somebody, yeah, my girl is black and Mexican, it was just like a thing. People just used to gravitate to that.
Hmm.
And so that's why I asked you that, because I'm like, with you being mixed, did it give you favor in relationships? Because for me coming up and for my friends coming up when we were in school, I'm like, we used to love this for a woman to be like, yeah, I'm mixed. That was like the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm getting the best of both worlds here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I feel you. I don't like, I don't think that I've never heard it
yeah,
like from the guys.
yeah,
I know people have types,
yep,
and I have come across men before that I like, and I'm like, oh, I really like them or something, like just when I was dating,
yeah,
and I've been denied because I'm mixed. I've been denied before where it's like, my type is a full black. Like I want to have full black children, stuff like that.
mm,
So I've been denied before for being mixed.
wow,
So like I feel like my experience on it wasn't like that. I have seen guys do that though. I'm
yeah.
not gonna sit here and cap like I haven't seen people be like, oh, she did she that. No, I've heard people say that. But I think everybody has their own type,
Yeah, for sure.
and people typically stick to their type. And so it, like, I laugh because I've never dated a white man before.
Yeah.
I'm half white. I've never dated a white boy before, ever. Not a boyfriend, not a talking relationship, like nothing. I've never dated a white man. So I think it's just people have, their types and they like what they like.
Did you ever have any desire to date a white man? Like ever at any point in your life? No? Okay,
No,
so you
I
so
think,
you like you've
and I
always liked the
laugh.
Black Kings.
Yeah, for real,
Okay.
like that, I really do. And it's funny because I always laugh about that because I'm like, white men have never tried to talk to me.
Yeah.
I've never, and maybe I just never been around, you know, um, the right groups, because I see that they do date,
Yeah.
outside their race too. Not as often as I feel like the black man and a white woman. But I've never dated one, never had the desire to, like, I've never even looked that way.
Yeah.
But that's why I said everybody has their type. Like, and for me, it just, I never tried it, never kind of looked that way. So,
Yeah. No, for sure. I think we've seen a lot of it when we recently went to Orlando. I was like, man, it's a lot of biracial couples. And I think it's been a thing, but now it's starting to really just take off. Like people are really just cool with it. They're open. They're out in public with their relationship, and I think it's great. I don't think that we
Mhm.
necessarily need to stick to our own race. Like if
Yeah,
it's not doing what it's supposed to do for you, fulfilling you, yeah, go ahead, date out your race. Or whoever is going to
right.
love you and make you happy, I feel like that's who you should be with. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what race they are, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever the case
Exactly.
may be. Like, I don't have a problem with biracial couples or people dating out their race because at the end of the day, if it's going to make you happy, then do it. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
um, there are some people who have issues with it. It's like, no, you should stick with your own. And it's like, well, if my own ain't doing what it's supposed to do for me, what you want me to do? You know?
Yeah, yeah. I think we a lot of times get we box ourselves in. Like
Yep.
I think people, and even just the older age and older mindset that our parents and those generations had, I feel like we were very boxed in and people were very angry.
Yep.
They had a lot to be angry about too as well. So it's like, of course, back then it was a bad thing, but
Yeah.
I feel like you it's like if somebody genuinely loves you and they're doing you right and you're doing them right, who cares about what color they are? Like
Yeah.
that shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And I feel like of being mixed, I know I've been saying, like, I identify as black and things like that, but that's just how I was raised. That's how what I was around. But I
Yeah.
feel like you can never neglect where you come from, who you are, and that's one thing I do know is I'm black and white. But I'm used to putting African American down when I write paperwork. So it's just like uh people. I feel like once you start boxing yourself in, that's where, like, we can't come together. You know
Yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure.
And at the end of the day, that's kind of what it's about, is everybody coming together. So it's about the human race, not a race. So
Exactly. Exactly. No, for
mhm,
sure. For sure.
mhm,
That's what's up. You mentioned earlier, you talked about how you were teaching your kids, both sides of the fence. Talk to me a little bit about why that's important, especially when in today's society you have social media, you got society, you got kids who probably are the meanest that they've ever probably been
mhm,
because the examples is what they're going off of. So,
mhm,
you got
mhm,
parents in the home who might not necessarily be teaching them the right way or teaching them that, hey, you're not supposed to like a certain race,
mhm,
going all the way back to their ancestors. They probably got it from
mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then also we have social media and we got these outside influences, and so it's really tough, right, for you to kind of battle against all those different things, right, being a parent and a mother. So talk to me a little bit about why it's important for you to teach your kids both sides of the fence so they can know,
Mhm,
hey, listen, this, I do identify as this. At the same time, I'm going to embrace both sides. Talk to me a little
mhm.
bit about that.
So yeah, like one of the things, obviously kids are always curious.
Yeah.
When they start getting to a certain age where they can talk and they starting to kind of understand things, those type of questions come up, and they'll come directly to you first, you being the parent. And
Yep.
I think for me it was confusing for my kids when they would see, black side, white side, and they're like, how are you, black and white? And of course I explained those things. um but I feel like it's important to teach them, because and I ran into this incident. And sorry, let me drink some water real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Take a little chug.
The kids.
Hey, you starting to get cotton mouth a little bit.
Yeah,
Take a little,
yeah,
take a little
yeah,
sip.
exactly. The kids, I experienced something one time where, so I am like and I put the hat on. I don't care. I'm the best mom, aunt, big sister. So one day I took all the kids. I mean, like my kids, my nieces, my nephew, my little brothers. So we go to the park.
Okay.
And it was a jam-packed park. So it was a lot of kids there. Of course, the girls playing with the girls, boys playing with the boys. And out of nowhere, I see this little white boy playing with the kid, my son and my nephew, you know, whatever.
Okay.
And I mean, they looking like they having the time of their life. I'm talking about they were crunk. And they gave each other's names, you know, they building a little friendship at the park. And I see the dad, and the dad, you know, I hate saying it this way, he just gave redneck. He
Okay.
gave like, you know those types. He had his like
Hmm.
cowboy boots on and stuff, so he gave redneck.
Okay.
So it's time to go. I'm getting in the car, and the kid, all of the boys was like, "We want his. Can you go talk to his parent? We want, you know, to hang out with him some more. We like him. We want to invite him to the birthday party and blah blah blah." And it was kind of uncomfortable because I didn't know how to tell them, because it's like you don't want to erase the history of what was, but you don't want to put the kids in a situation where they don't like white people. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so that particular day I had a learning lesson, and like you need to probably teach the kids about the past, but also let them know it's okay to embrace the future. Like it's okay to
Mm.
have a white friend. It's okay to, you know, whatever. But you know, that day I'm not gonna lie, I probably failed to listen because I didn't go talk to the man. I should have went and talked to him, got his information, got his wife's number, whatever, and tried to keep the boys together. But it was one of those things, I had never experienced that before, and it was an eye opener for me of like, one, I don't want to teach my kids to hate anybody just because of their race. Or, and I'm not saying that we do that as a culture.
Right.
But I think it's important that they learn the backstory to it, and why, you know, some things are uncomfortable or may not be comfortable for your parents to go, you know, talk, because they're gonna be the ones that I feel like gonna break that door down,
Yep.
that separation door down. And so, you know, I had to have the conversation, and I slowly but surely started to have conversations with them. And last year we did a family trip where we went to the African American Museum.
Okay.
Have you guys been before?
No, no, we've never been.
Definitely go. I tell anybody, it's one of those things where it makes you feel like liberated in a way. And I would
Okay.
say even more proud of like all the work that so many activists and leaders did to break that door down. You know what I mean? And it was interesting because my kids, they're at an age where they are very curious about everything in life. And
Hmm.
so I took them to the museum, and of course, you know how you moving so fast, and we had a big family, so I'm like with the whole family. So I didn't get a chance to just explain everything.
Okay.
When we got back home, and I'm like, "Well, what did y'all learn? Did y'all learn anything?" Man, the amount of information they learned, and the crazy part about it is they learned about Rosa Parks, they learned about Martin Luther King, they learned about Emmett Till. And it was crazy because none of this is in the books anymore. They
Yeah.
don't learn this stuff at school anymore.
Right.
Like we used to learn about this stuff when we were growing up, and it was in the school books and stuff like that. But now it's not. And so it's like those little things made me feel good to be able to kind of explain that to the kids, and have them build their own impressions about, you know, who they want to be friends with. Like my son has multiple different types of friends, you know,
Okay.
Asian friends, Mexican friends, white friends, black friends. Like he got just a big diverse group of friends. And you know, I like that
Yeah.
because you don't want to teach them you have to be, you know, with your people. Like, and don't get me wrong, you should be with your people, but it's okay to be with other people as well, you know. So I think that's where it became important for me to be like, oh wow, I need to kind of teach my kids this history. But also me being black and white, growing up, I always cared about art history in general. So,
Hmm.
you know, I talk to my grandma all the time. She was born in the 40s. So,
Okay.
and she's from Dallas, born and raised. So she's seen everything that there is to see in Dallas. And it was very interesting to me to learn some of the things I even learned about, you know, her and what she went through, you know, her drinking out of, you know, black only water fountains, and her only
Mm.
being able to come through the back of a restaurant. Like it was mind blowing because when you growing up, you know, we didn't live in that time. So we never seen that, you know, and I it's important to me to make sure my kids know about it because I always tell them, like, these people did this, so you have the luxury to do whatever you want to do, be whatever you want to be, go where you want to go, because that just wasn't the time back then. And so I love to. I'm a history person though, so I love
Okay.
looking back and learning new things. And so I talked to my grandma about that stuff. I talked to my granddad. My granddad actually picked cotton. He wasn't a
Okay.
slave, but that's what he used to do for money when he was younger. And so it's just always interesting hearing those like real life stories. And so for me, I like to pass them down to the kids because I feel like nowadays they're not teaching the kids our history, and they have to.
Mm-mm.
And they have to teach them the history. Because I had my first conversation the other day. I have two daughters, two different hair textures. And my daughter with more coarse hair, her hair is long, thick, beautiful. They
Okay.
both have beautiful hair. And she tells me, she says, Mom, I just wish I could wear my hair like how my teammates wear their hair. And her teammates are mostly Hispanic, white. And so I'm
Mm.
like, baby girl, you just don't have that style of hair. You cannot. And then, like, we were at her national competition where most of the girls took their little ponytail out, let their hair down, and she tried to do the same. I'm like, you can't do that because I got to comb it. I got to do a little extra work. And I
Yeah.
told her, it's okay that you got to do extra work with your hair. Your hair is just as beautiful as their hair. You
Hmm.
might not can't wear it the same. It might not look the same, but you got to love your own hair. So it was crazy that I even had to have that conversation with my daughter. But I think conversations must be had because you have to instill that toughness in the kids to be able to be ready for that adversity. And I feel like we're in this day and age where, like you said, the internet is there. So they see a lot of influencers and things like that where my kids watch y'all all the time. They love Brandon and Destiny. By the way, they've been wanting to come in here and say, hey, so before you go, I'm gonna let them
Oh yeah. Oh, I
say,
gotta
hey,
look.
because
I
I
gotta
told
say
them
what's
I'm
up to
doing it
your
with.
kid. I love your kids, man. Your
Yeah, I
kids,
told.
the
I said I'm
personality.
I'm doing a podcast with Brandon. We got to be professional. They said, but we want to say hi. I said, I'll let you say
Yeah. No,
hi in a minute.
I love your kids, man. The
But
personalities is insane
yeah,
on
they
them,
got
y'all.
some
Her
big
kids,
personalities for sure. But
yeah, her
yeah,
kids
I
got
feel
some personality. I
yeah.
love them. I love when they come over. I love when I see them because I'm like, oh yeah, it's not going to be a boring moment at all with them.
Yeah, no, they are definitely great kids and they really smart. And for me, I feel like when it comes to just in general, me, and going back to me being black and white, it's
Yeah.
like it's really important for me to explain that to them because it's things I still find out today that I never knew, like the black cowboy. I
Yeah.
never really even knew that story. And
Yeah.
it's crazy that you don't have too many celebrities that even put that type of stuff out there or promote, stuff like that, because that's what these kids are watching. That's what they, are doing nowadays. And it's important that they know all this stuff because if they don't, I'm not gonna say that they'll have an identity crisis, but it's just one of those things where I feel like you once you get to a good level of understanding with things, it really helps you maneuver in life.
No, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, and I also feel like you don't have to do everything the culture say you got to do. You don't have to
That
do
part.
you don't like I feel like the black culture right now is about drill music and bad stuff and things like that. And I've even had to have a talk with my son like it's okay to have a job. It's okay to, not be in the streets. It's okay to not pick up a gun. It's okay, but the reason I have those conversations is because you want to build your kids up to be the best that they can be.
Right.
You got to give them the tools, and the tools is knowledge.
Yeah.
So for me, I've been experiencing things where I see the kids, going through certain things, and I feel like next up you got to start having the police conversations about keeping your hands up, things like that. And it sucks that's the world we live in, but like I said, I done experienced it, been around it with these kids, and it's important to just tell them that stuff. So
No, that is awesome. That's great. Just having that hands on with them and being invested in them to talk, have those conversations. A lot of parents don't do it and they end up the way they end up. and
Exactly.
now you want to wait till
Exactly.
they're 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds to start
To
having a
start talking to
conversation.
them, and
Yeah, and it's
exactly.
like, nah, you should have been had these conversations. Or the
Exactly.
fact of, like you said, knowledge is power. So it's like, if they're not getting the knowledge from you, they're getting it from the streets, and the streets is gonna tell them
It can
one way to
mislead them,
go.
misguide them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and they gonna
Exactly.
dress it up and make it look real good for them, and the next thing you know,
Exactly.
they end up in jail or
Mm-hmm.
some type of
Mm-hmm.
trouble. So it's good that you are having those conversations, especially identifying as black and white, because
Mm-hmm.
you're teaching your kids that, you know what, you don't have to stick to your own. You can have a Caucasian friend, you can have a Hispanic friend. And I love that. I just love that. I love when people preach diversity, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
um, because a lot of times we're taught just to, like I said earlier, a lot of times we're taught to stick with our own. And it's like, that's cool. Like, but diversity is key. Diversity, it
It's
opens
gonna
up a lot of
open doors.
opportunities. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
gonna open doors to things that I feel like the more you box yourself off, you're really trimming your potential. You're really not
Yeah.
living up to that potential that you could have if you rubbed elbows with the right people. Because it's not even about the race at that point. It's about,
Yeah.
what you know, who you can, get close to. And so I definitely feel like diversity is important. And that's, like I said, that is what's gonna break. I feel like Martin Luther King had already said that. Like, we gotta love each other. We gotta break that door down. And I feel like it's important to teach the kids that, because they're gonna be the ones that's really gonna break the door down. I feel like we already kind of doing it, with our generation, being more open, being more free, and really being us. But I feel like when they, I'm not gonna say erase. You can't take away the past. The
Right.
past is the past. So, and it's
Right.
important that they understand the past. But constantly preaching to keep them separate and all that type of stuff, you don't want to do that. So,
No, I love that. I love that. Well, I'm gonna get you out of here on this question. It's a question that I like to ask all my guests to end the episode. And so the question I have for you is, let's say you're sitting across the table from 20-year-old Jaleesa,
mhm.
and she's telling you, look, I'm black, I'm mixed. It's been a struggle. I don't know what I identify with. People been cracking jokes. It really is a struggle for me right now, being a mixed individual, and I really don't have that support system. Like you said, you had your mom, you had your dad, but 20-year-old Jaleesa doesn't have that support system, and she comes to you and she asks you, hey, can you give me one piece of advice on how I should navigate this so that things can be a little bit more favorable to me? What piece of advice would you tell her?
I think for me, looking back, I would say counseling.
Okay.
I think a lot of times we don't know our traumas, we don't know our triggers, we don't know how to emotionally handle certain situations. Um, and when I look back on my 20-year-old self, even though I didn't have that type of crisis, I feel like the level, when I told you in the beginning that I'm at a different level of peace in my life, mentally.
Yep.
It took years to get there, but had I told my younger self it's okay to talk to somebody that's not your parents, it don't have, you know what I mean, like getting that professional help, I think is super important, because you don't know what you don't know, and it's hard trying to figure that stuff out. And to me, talking to somebody about it is the best thing to do, because I did do counseling in my early 20s. I didn't go
Okay.
much, but I did it, and I did it with my spouse as well.
Okay.
And I feel like we were, when we were younger, we were in this mindset of counseling is bad. Like, we don't need to talk to nobody,
Hmm.
things like that. And I feel like in most of the communities, it's like that. You don't
Yeah.
want to talk to nobody about your problems. You don't want to say you need help. You don't want to say you can't handle it mentally. You know what I mean? And so what I will say is getting that mental help, getting that counseling you need, or just somebody to kind of talk you through and help navigate you through live situations. Because like I said, when I was younger, I didn't think that you'll know it all at that age. So you think you know this, you think you know that.
Right.
And like I feel like to get to where I am now, I had to start unpacking some of the things that I felt like was holding me back, or that I felt like I was mentally draining me. And I did it alone. So, and that's to me not the best thing to do, because that's where a lot of suicides and things like that happen and stuff like that. You trying to hold it in. So I would tell my 20-year-old self, you know I laugh about the 20-year-olds now. Sometimes they make more money than we do, but it's like I feel like your younger self, you need that somebody to talk to really unpack what you're going through, what you feeling, if you getting bullied, how to handle that. And that's another thing in the Black community. We don't have um we've never been taught emotional intelligence, how to handle our anger, how to handle things that are hurting us, things like that. And so I learned that through counseling. They don't. I love counseling because I thought it was just gonna be somebody just prying, but it was more so. Really, it really opens you up to where you find your stuff that really hurts you that you don't even know how to say out loud. So, I would say getting counseling earlier really does help a lot and could help you navigate further in life and help you get to that potential. And even God, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Finding those habits and things that I feel like that aligns you spiritually, um, is what I would tell my younger self.
I love that. I love that. Get help. Counseling is
Mhm.
not a bad thing.
It's not a
It's
bad
not, it
thing.
doesn't make you look weak or like a punk or anything.
Mhm.
Counseling is really there to help heal you and to help you get through situations and circumstances where you don't have the support system or you don't have what you need. Like
Exactly.
counseling is, I tell people all the time, counseling is not a bad thing. Like it's
It's not.
not. It's actually a great thing.
It's not. But see how I like, and that's why I'm giving that advice to
Yeah.
myself, because when
Yeah.
I was growing up, um, I was taught you're not supposed to talk to the police. You're not supposed to talk to the doctors.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to talk to the school counselors because you can say the wrong thing. Things like that. And you get instilled in this fear of like, dang, I can't talk to nobody. I can't.
Yep.
And it's like, no, you need to, because
Yeah.
then you start seeing things about yourself that you never thought you were doing or naturally doing. And so counseling for sure, man, and nobody should be scared of it. But I think that we all think we should be,
Right.
which holds us back. Like, it's just talking, and that's free. And it really do like heal you, like you said. It really makes you face some fears that you should have been facing. And I like I said, I'm 32 now. If I had done that in my 20s, I could have probably been
Ooh.
at a whole nother level in life. It took me some time to realize the things I want in life, the things that I will and won't accept, and you go through life just lifing, and you could have been doing that with a counselor the whole time and getting further in life. And so that's what I would say is counseling for sure.
I love it. I love it. Man, this was good. This was good. I definitely appreciate you stopping by and just giving your journey, your perspective on things. Um, this was a great episode. Long time coming because
Yes, yes.
a lot of people they don't understand how to navigate it. Like you people have been taught that being mixed is a bad thing, and it's really not. You got to embrace who you are. You got to embrace the different cultures that you represent and that you stand for. And so the fact that
Mhm.
you are doing that is a testament to how it's what it's supposed to look like. And
Mhm.
now you're bringing that and dropping those nuggets down to your kids. So that way your kids can identify with themselves and they don't have to be going back and forth trying to figure out who they are, what they are. At the end of the day, they are you. They are
Exactly.
an extension of you, and you're teaching them that, hey, I have black in me, I have white in me, but it's okay. I can embrace both, and I'm comfortable and I'm good in my skin because I know who I am. You know.
Exactly. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I definitely appreciate you giving your journey and your perspective. Definitely this was a good combo.
Yeah. I thought this was a real good conversation because I feel like we don't talk about it enough.
Facts.
A lot of people don't talk about it enough. So I thought this was a really good episode too, and I appreciate you bringing me on for sure.
No, for sure, for sure. All right, so make sure y'all are following us on IG where we post reels from the episodes. And if you can't watch us, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Flip That Switch. So whether you're watching us or listening to us, just make sure you're tapping in. And if you have a story that you want to get out there, you want to be a guest on the Flip That Switch podcast, please hit me in the comments. I'd love to interview you, do an episode with you. So if you feel like you got a story that would resonate with people, definitely hit me in the comments so I can get you on the show. But Jaleesa, yo, keep doing what you're doing. Mad respect to you. 3 kids, raising them the right way, being the parent that God has called you to be. Keep doing your thing. Keep overcoming the obstacles and what society has brainwashed, trying to brainwash us with. Just keep doing your thing and training your kids up the right way, and you're going to be all good.
I appreciate you, Brandon.
Uh,
Yeah, we flipped the switch on them.
yeah, we flipped the switch on them.
I tried to come with a little.
Right. All right, well, we're going to see y'all
But
for
all
the
right.
next episode, and we out. Peace.